This episode of Okay, But Did You Know contains conversations surrounding diets and weight loss. If this topic makes you uncomfortable and you would like to skip this episode, we completely understand, and we welcome you back in our next episode. Hi, friends. I'm Katie.
And I'm Lauren. And welcome to Okay, But Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today, we're recapping and chatting about Bob's Burgers Season 3, Episode 7, Tina-Rannosaurus Rex, Episode 8, The Unbearable Likeness of Gene. So we always start with a synopsis, and here is the synopsis for Episode 7, Tina-Rannosaurus Rex. Bob and Tina get a deal on dispenser napkins and take advantage of the empty parking lot, and Bob lets Tina take the car for a spin. Tina hits the only car in the parking lot that just happens to be Jimmy Pesto's. Bob contacts his insurance, and the insurance agent blackmails the Belchers into committing a string of insurance fraud. Mort provides his hearse while the car is in the shop, and Jean and Louise take full advantage. Tina struggles with the stress of their lies until Tina records the insurance agent admitting fraud. I like you're just like nodding along like, yep, that's what that was.
Yeah.
That was an episode.
That was an episode.
So we always start with the puns in the opening credits. What did you get for the vacant storefront?
Wigs, 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 and socks.
The secondary sign for that says, buy one wig, get one sock free.
It's a deal.
The pest control truck.
That would be Laverne and Shirley, which is a reference to the TV series Laverne and Shirley.
Which I'm sure you were aware that is a Happy Days spinoff.
Yes.
The sign includes a cockroach. How many burgers of the day did you get?
Okay, so I got 3. There was one that I tried so hard to get that when I was done watching the episode, I went back and tried to pause it before it zoomed in on Bob's face multiple times. I was really trying to get that one, and I couldn't. And I'm like, you know what? If it exists out in the world, I'm sure it'll tell me what it is. But the ones that I did get are the open sesame burger served open face on a sesame seed bun, which seems kind of pointless, and I stand by.
Yeah.
Don't hate me, food people, but I think open face sandwiches are stupid.
I have to agree, but that one is, of course, from the story of Alibaba and the 40 Thieves.
For anyone that has seen the Aladdin sequel, Aladdin and the King of Thieves, when they have Open Sesame as their hideaway, but the guards don't remember what it is, he starts saying Open Caraway because that's a different kind of seed.
I love that.
I got the Don't Give Me No Chive burger served with no chives.
A play on the phrase, don't give me no jive.
Mm-hmm. And then lastly, Pickle My Funny Bone burger.
That's for Tickle My Funny Bone.
Yep.
I guess it just comes with pickles.
I suppose.
The one you couldn't get was Chipotle Off the Old Block burger. A play on Chip Off the Old Block.
Okay, I wrote down, all I could see was Chipotle, the old, and then a dash. I didn't catch the whole burger, dang it.
So this is a fun little episode. It's an episode. So we have Bob Odenkirk as Chase, the insurance agent. Most of us know him as Saul from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. I say that as someone who has still not watched the last season of Breaking Bad because my husband and I got bored.
That's fair. Although I do love that we keep finding Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul actors on our respective shows.
I know, and I'm just like, oops, still haven't finished that.
Honestly,
don't know if we ever will.
I'm really curious to see if Giancarlo Esposito has been on Bob's Burgers, because honestly, he does the weirdest stuff. I wouldn't put it past him.
I wouldn't either, and I'm also curious now.
We are now looking this up, because again, would this be an episode of Okay, But Did You Know if we weren't looking something up in the middle of the podcast?
We have Googled, I think, almost we didn't Google nope, we did Google. You looked up Disney.
I was literally on the My Disney Experience app.
So we have literally looked something up almost every single episode of our podcast. Because we are very prepared.
To be fair though, we actually are. It's just a matter of stuff comes up in conversation that we just realize we need to look up in that exact moment. He was not on Bob's Burgers, as far as I can see.
Oh. There is still an opportunity.
Writers of Bob's Burgers, do you want to have Giancarlo Esposito on your show just so that we can be right about something?
Better yet, you should have us.
Oh yeah, they want us.
That would be
that would be
much
cool.
fun.
But I was like, they clearly want us.
Clearly. So this episode wasn't always titled Tina-Rannosaurus Rex.
What was the original title?
The original title was Tina Wrecks the Car.
That's such a creative title. I love it. I think that should have been the title.
The place they got the napkins from
Okay.
is called Supplies, Party, Restaurant, Equipment, and Supply.
Yep, that sounds about right.
That sounds about right. And then the open house where Jean and Louise decide to, make themselves at home.
Mm-hmm.
That one is advertised by Iniquitous Real Estate. And I really actually love this little fact. The taxi that drops off Bob and Tina after the accident is the same taxi that Bob drives in Sheesh Cab Bob.
Okay. I like that.
The green panel above the left front wheel is visible.
Okay.
So they brought the cab back.
Why not?
And then did you notice that Colleen Caviello is at the party that Bob and Linda attend in a flashback?
I did not.
Yeah, Colleen Caviello is apparently always around.
Okay.
So yeah, this was an episode.
Yeah, it was.
I only have a couple of notes because, as we have said, this was what it was.
Yeah.
Tina groaning and Bob losing his mind every time I watch this episode does make me laugh because the entire time you just have Bob freaking out and yelling, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" and Tina just groaning like Tina does.
I mean, because to be fair, at the speed she was going, he could have just taken the steering wheel and turned it, and they probably would have been fine until honestly, he probably could have thrown the car into park with how old that car is.
It was going so slow, he very much could have just thrown it into park or pulled the emergency brake.
Yeah.
Like, I had to laugh when the kids call out, when Jean calls out, "I call coffin." I couldn't help but laugh because, as we have said before, how I have said before in this podcast, coffins are comfortable. Although I think if the coffin's in the hearse, they should not try to sleep in it or be in it.
Probably not. As we later saw, he was killing two birds with one stone. There was a person in said coffin.
So maybe not. Don't call coffin. It's occupied.
Coffin is occupied. I wrote down. Where did I put it? There's not that many notes. There we go. When he says "I call coffin," I did write down when he says "I call coffin," and Louise goes like no fair. I wanted coffin. He went, "Good. It was a trick. I'm too scared to write coffin." Like that's the smart choice.
Yes. But then the line that goes, "He's in the to-go box." I don't know how to respond to that, but that is and then my other note was just, how do you make lightning happen? Because he's like, the next fraud will be lightning, and I'm like, how do we emulate that? How are you gonna make that happen?
If MythBusters has taught me anything, you make a really humid environment, and then you have these really big metal things that will attract electricity, and then you get a thing that creates sparks. And then, because I've watched the episode where they try to figure out if you can, I think it's if facial piercings attract lightning.
Do they? Oh, God. For anybody who doesn't watch our clips, I have a nose piercing. So, of course, I'm sitting here like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I have earrings. So, if, according to MythBusters, you are no more likely to be struck by lightning just because you've got, at least not according to their test. I don't remember if maybe it was inconclusive because they couldn't emulate it perfectly, but I'm pretty sure it came up with you're no more likely to be struck by lightning if you've got metal on your person. But yeah, so MythBusters. That was so much of my childhood.
I'm just gonna laugh because first thing in this evening, I received a geology lesson.
A Disney World lesson.
Tonight's the night of science, apparently, and experiments.
Lauren, for some reason, brings the science to these podcasts. She also still talks about herself in the third person a lot. I don't know why. That's been tonight's vibe. Because I've done that now on both episodes. But science was not my best subject in high school. As soon as I could stop taking it, I did. Or not as soon. I did one level higher than I technically needed to for like my advanced regents diploma, but then I just kept going because it, got rid of a credit I had to take in college. But like science was not my best, and like I say this as someone with a master's of science degree.
It's a different type of science, right?
Yeah, I would say library and information science is very different. This isn't anything that I learned in high school science. You're not learning what it is I do for a
What I
living.
learned in boating school
In earth
is
science, biology, chemistry. What I learned in boating school is blankety blankety blank. What I learned in library school is a lot of stuff that I have a hard time explaining to people without jargon that makes sense to literally no
Look,
one.
I've learned enough from you. And just know that if I can get it ordered in time, your Christmas gift will be data inspired.
I love it.
Like, it needs to be.
I'm very excited. I mean, what I learned in boating school is that making spreadsheets is not a character flaw. It can, in fact, be a career path.
Oh, this was really funny. But when we were speaking to some police officers earlier today, the officer was very excited. We were like, yeah, we're about to get really organized after current events. And he goes, he's like, yeah, me and my wife share a spreadsheet. All I could sit there and think is,
that.
Lauren. But also, my husband does enjoy a good spreadsheet as well. I just don't think he has like the same extent of your skills. So we had to order him a new iPad because the toddler broke another one. But I foresee more spreadsheets in my future.
You're welcome.
Thank you. If I employ your help, thank you in advance. My last note is just all caps, the diarrhea song.
Yeah, not as catchy as the Thanksgiving song.
No, not as catchy, but it all from a one-liner too of just Bob being like, you always just announce too much information, and you just get the flashback to Bob has diarrhea.
Yep, that's Linda.
That's Linda. So now that song will be stuck in my head the rest of the day.
Fair.
Yeah. So, what are your notes?
Yeah. So I wrote down, no, it's definitely not legal to let a 13-year-old drive, even in an empty parking lot. Like, maybe don't
not
do that.
Legal, but
not legal.
Common.
Yeah, no, very common. Like, I feel like maybe not 13, but like when I was like younger, like not an empty parking lot. I think like down like I wasn't driving. I was allowed to steer, but not really steer. I was like just like kind of lightly guiding the steering wheel.
Things were different in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. There was no one on the road. We weren't hitting any. This was like a wooded road. There was no one coming and it was straight. I was just kind of keeping the car on the road.
I lived in the middle of nowhere and we lived on a very long like dirt road driveway type situation. Yeah. So it was no thing to be like, all right, I'm going to jump out, grab the mail. You're going to drive us to the house. Like, I don't know if it's a rural thing or if it's just a thing that parents did in that time period.
I don't know. I did see the bite marks on the ice cream machine.
Yay! I was waiting for that. I didn't want to say it. I was hoping you would have noticed.
Mm-hmm. No, I saw them.
From the deepening, we have, of course, the shark chewed on the ice cream machine, and Bob's Burgers actually has fairly good continuity, so there's still bite marks on it.
Which is good, which also proves that, like, this is the correct order of the episodes.
Yes, because they like to move episodes around sometimes.
Yeah. One of the shows that should have had good continuity, and it didn't, because they very clearly flipped 2 episodes or flipped a couple episodes, weirdly enough, is Full House.
Oh, really?
And the only reason why I know this is I think it's season 6. I think it's whatever season that the girl's bedroom gets redesigned. Oh, okay. I don't remember what season that is, because there's the episode where it gets redesigned, and then the next episode it looks the way that it used to. Oh, so they flipped whatever those 2 episodes were in the scheduling. I don't know why, but like that's even as a kid, I wasn't paying attention to stuff like this as a kid, but that was always blaringly obvious to me. Like, but didn't they change the bedroom already? Why is it? So now as an adult, I can, they just flipped them in scheduling for some reason.
Never a huge fan of Full House. There's something about your, like, I think it was too corny for me.
That's fair. I don't know why I liked it so much.
And then I did try Fuller House, and good God, I couldn't do it.
I could not finish Fuller House. I think I managed at least 3 seasons of it, but Full House. I mean, I will also say, full disclosure, Full House for me was a Nick at Night show. I am saying
That's
that.
fair.
I am in the age group where it was a Nick at Night situation, and then I got the
Hmm.
DVDs when they were available for some particular reason. I like collected them as a kid.
We all seem to have this just connection for us of those who, for those of us of our generation who watch Nick at Night, because we all have this very odd memory of waking up at 3 a.m. to George Lopez
Mm-hmm.
laughing on our screens. So no,
Yep.
I completely understand because it was that, and of course, what was it called on Cartoon Network? Adult Swim, but they had,
Yeah.
what was it called, like Tsunami or something like that, in the middle of the
Yeah.
night, where they played like anime and stuff like that. I remember waking
Mm-hmm.
up to stuff like that too.
Yeah, nothing really says insomnia in the early 2000s quite like George Lopez, whatever that anime thing on Cartoon Network was. And whose line is it anyway on repeat?
Yes. Well, because it was always George Lopez, Whose Line, and then I would always wake up to Inuyasha.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was always Inuyasha. I don't know why. But like,
I have no idea.
but that was just that time period of TV for us. But I never really got into
Mm-hmm.
Full House, and then Fuller House came out, and I gave it a try because of nostalgia. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
it bugged me because I'm not a huge fan of Candace.
Mm-hmm.
But then on top of that, they kept ragging on the Olsen twins for not coming
Yeah,
back.
they stopped the jokes. I think after the first season, they
Okay.
stopped like the jokes about her not coming back from what I saw. I don't think they mentioned it again. I don't think,
It's like they didn't want to
but
come back. Like their whole
mhm.
childhood was acting. Let them enjoy their lives.
Yeah, I tried watching it just for Jodie Sweetin alone.
Oh, love Jodie Sweetin.
Even she wasn't enough.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love her though.
Some things you just gotta let go.
Hmm. I do agree with the sentiment that hell is a jail cafeteria.
Yes, it. Yeah, it is.
Hmm.
I have to agree with that one.
Because not only is what they're serving is her lies, but that's what they had yesterday. I was saying napping in the back of a hearse sounds horrifying.
Does it?
I mean, as someone who's not a mortician or who has not lied in coffins, yes, I can say that sounds kind of horrifying.
Well, I would hope the coffin's not back there, so there's space to
In
nap.
theory, what's
In
really
theory.
sad is when maybe when they opened the hearse or whatever, my first thought, or when we saw the hearse, my brain went to the movie Some Like It Hot.
Oh
Have
yeah,
you seen like
I
about
think I
how like
have.
with the funeral themed speakeasy at the
I
very
think I
beginning?
remember this.
Yeah, this is the movie with it's Tony Curtis and John Lemon. I mean, by today's standards, it's man in a dress comedy, but it really is a classic. I have no
Mm.
better way of saying it. It really is a classic of the
I have to look back at that one.
yeah. It's Marilyn Monroe. It's the two of them. They're basically on the run from the mob
Thank
in the
you. That
1920s,
that helped.
and they masquerade as women so that they can join a women's
Hmm.
band to play in Florida, so that they can basically just
You
escape.
said Marilyn Monroe, and it clicked. I
Yep.
remember now. I was like, wait a
I
minute, I know
wanna
this.
be
Where do I know
loved
this?
by you, just you, and nobody else but you.
Do you have any? Do you have any other notes?
Would it be an episode if I didn't start singing? To be fair, I don't do
Truly, it
that
wouldn't.
often.
Maybe you should do it more.
I mean, when we get to the musical episode for Once Upon a Time, I'm never gonna shut up. Unfortunately, that's like 2026 or
Oh my
2020.
goodness.
Like maybe
Well,
like see, I think I did the math that time about that episode from season 5, so
yeah.
it is in fact gonna be 2026 before you see the musical episode.
Well, the good news is that Bob's gets very musical as well, which it
Hmm.
reached a point when I had my husband watch it because I did make my husband start from the beginning. I
Okay,
am that wife.
fair.
I made him start from the beginning so he could be caught up because well, the new
Hmm.
episodes were coming out. I don't remember what season. This was pre-movie because we've been together for almost 5 years.
Yeah.
And I remember telling him I was like, "Look, I'm going to watch this. If you want any context because now we know you do actually need context from the beginning because it does make they have some continuity."
Oh yeah.
So I made him watch all of them. Um, it was just that situation of like, I'm not gonna leave you if you don't watch it, but I
Hmm.
will annoy you. And he
Yeah.
was like, I'm just gonna do this then, and he ended up liking it.
Hmm.
But there are some very musical episodes, and he's not big on musicals. He doesn't mind that I love them, of course. Like everyone's different.
Hmm.
We're not gonna be into the same things all the time.
Oh yeah.
But there are so many times when a musical episode starts and I get excited and he's just like, a musical episode? No. He's just like, oh God, here we go.
My last funny, I guess my last funny note was just the way that they got the insurance adjuster. I wrote in all
Yeah.
caps, I wrote in all caps, they recorded him like Zootopia, which I know that is a reference to many other things, not Zootopia. But
Oh, yeah.
after I just wrote, it's called A Hustle, Sweetheart.
Oh, I love that.
It
But
was
then at
just
the same time, though, when they're, like, trying to listen to it,
they have
when
to
they're
click all
turning him
the
in for
other buttons
fraud,
on the synth.
they're clicking all the other buttons, and they're like, I think it's that one, because they
Yeah.
keep making fart noises.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you rate this?
This one, it was fun, but it's not one of my
Mhm.
favorites. So this one got 7s across the board. It's got a 21. It's solid. It's an
Yeah.
episode. It has some memorable moments. I think we had more fun conversation than I think I might have enjoyed our conversation a little more than I enjoyed the episode.
I think I have to agree. I mean, I gave it 9s across the board, but
Mm-hmm.
then, like, there are the banter, the hearse, there's
Yeah.
just I have to remind myself that I do have a lot of nostalgia for
Yeah.
myself because
Mm-hmm.
I started watching this 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Has it been 7 years?
That is how math works.
I get a science and a math lesson today.
From your
So for
library
me,
scientist friend.
this is hilarious. Oh man. So it really was. It's for me. It's a lot of nostalgia, and I have to remind myself that. And like I know I'm saying something from 7 years ago is nostalgia, but when you're going like we've had the discussion of when you've been through a lot, and this is something that's comforting,
Yeah.
you're gonna rate it higher.
Oh yeah.
I'm biased. Episode 8: The Unbearable Likeness of Jean. Someone has a crush on Jean. Courtney has a big crush on Jean, and he ends up in his first relationship, even though he doesn't like her back. Gretchen stops by Bob's Burgers to show off her weight loss, and Linda wants to attempt the same diet, leading to a very hungry Linda. Gene continues his relationship with Courtney once he discovers her dad is a jingle writer, only to lead him to a messy breakup. Linda struggles through her diet until she can't take it anymore and finds her confidence once again. I want to start this one with like we did put the big warning at the beginning. This episode always makes me feel a little
Mm-hmm.
weird as my own history with things I have dealt with. I am not a fan of this
Mm-hmm.
episode, but I did love learning a lot of the things that I did learn about it. But I just wanted to throw that out here that like we'll have some discussion on this, but it's okay if you're not if you choose not to listen
Mm-hmm.
to this because of
Yeah.
these aspects to
Absolutely.
it. But we always start with the
Mm-hmm.
puns. And what did you get for the vacant storefront?
Talk to the hand glove store.
There is actually a glove-shaped hand that says "open" in the window. The pest control truck,
Rat be nimble, rat be dead.
and that's the nursery rhyme Jack be nimble. And there is a dead rat on
I
the
wrote
sign.
out, yeah, rat be nimble, rat be dead. Clever.
Very
Yeah.
clever. And how many burgers of the day did you get?
Okay, so this one again, I got 2, but I think there was a third one that I couldn't quite catch. I wrote that one down. I think. I think I started it because I think there was a third one that I like started writing down what it said. I need to do a better job of organizing my notes.
Hmm.
Uh,
So there are only
okay,
two.
so then
A
oh
third one, I think it's one of those situations where you can't see it.
okay wait no so I did bold the second one that I didn't get. So
Okay.
the yes I cayenne burger, and the next one I wrote sounds like a burger with cayenne and honestly sounds disgusting.
Yeah, if you put too much cayenne on something, no thank you.
Yeah. And the second burger that I didn't actually catch, but I caught comes with beans, and then I wrote down still didn't get the whole burger. Dang it.
It's Bean Spirit.
Oh.
So it's like either Team Spirit. It's really funny because the wiki says that it's a play on Team Spirit, like just that phrase.
Yeah.
Or possibly Teen Spirit, a deodorant targeted at young teens.
Mm.
I'm going to go with Team Spirit on that one.
Probably.
So there's some fun facts about this one. The title is, of course, a parody of the unbearable lightness of the unbearable lightness of being. I really love when they add in stuff of like whoever directed it, or like if there's writers, when they throw those into the show, because you can do that so easily, especially with cartoons. The film's showing at the cinema. You ready for this?
Tell me.
So they have Dog Prom 2.
Okay.
Nora Beans, most likely a reference to a writer for the show, Nora Smith.
Mhm.
Ninja Nannies.
That sounds like fun.
That does sound like fun. And Mr. Sister.
Okay.
And then the other cool thing with writers, again, is Tina mentions two students, Wendy and Lizzie.
Mhm.
They are named for the Molyneux sisters, Wendy and Lizzie Molyneux. I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly. Who are writers for the show.
Okay.
So there's some interesting things in there. You gotta kind of enjoy that. Courtney sings "We Go Together" over the
Yeah.
montage.
Yeah, I wrote down we love a Grease reference song to the creepy girlfriend montage.
You have to do it. Uh, Jean's wings during the Gear Heaven scene
Mhm. Yeah.
are two Casios,
Yeah.
but they are actually the same model. They're the SK5, the same exact model that Jean plays,
Okay.
which is kind of cool because in the last episode we get to see the different aspects of what they did with it to catch the insurance fraud.
Mhm.
And with this, the opening changes a little bit. They actually, Gene plays a new sound on his keyboard
Mm.
in
Okay.
the opening scene on this.
Mm.
And the last little tidbit I have is captions to the music playing at Courtney's party. Like, because we like
Mhm.
to watch with captions. We both
Yeah.
do. I can't not do it.
No.
It's Rebecca Black's Friday.
Oh, really?
Yes. Which I will say, her newer music is wonderful.
Okay. I haven't listened
She
to it.
actually she's done pretty cool. She's grown.
Okay, that's good.
I know that we all kind of look back at Rebecca Black's Friday as
Mhm.
an interesting moment in time
Mhm. Yeah. That
because
was
it was a time
yeah. Was I a junior in high school when that happened?
we were around. Yeah, I think we were both still in high school for that one because I remember
Yeah.
people singing it at school. So I
Yeah, I
was
was
still in
definitely in high
college.
school.
I wasn't in college yet. I was still in high school
Yeah, same.
because I'm only a year ahead of you. So
Yeah.
um, but yeah, that's what that was. So interesting notes all around. But
Okay.
my first actual note for the show, just went, "This is not a diet," in all caps. Don't do this.
Yeah.
Um, I get where they were coming from. I
Mhm.
understand that this is something that a lot of shows do. They
Yeah.
try to find humor in it. I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
It's not good representation. So that was fun.
Yeah, I also wrote down that sounds like a horrible diet. Although I did say good for you, Gretchen, if she's,
Hmm.
she's feeling better about herself, that's all that matters.
I will
Um
say she gains all the weight back.
I would expect nothing less.
Same.
Yeah. But no, I wrote down also no, Linda, don't live on vegetable skins. You deserve better than that.
She does. Everyone deserves better than that.
Everyone
Please
does. This
eat
is true.
food.
This is true. Although I mean, I did like the point of is icing just cake skin?
We could have a discussion on that. Is it
Yeah.
cake skin? What else is actually skin on things?
And more importantly, I don't think I've ever asked you this. Do you consider a hamburger a sandwich?
Yes.
What about a hot dog?
Damn it. I don't know how to answer that. I think it
Because I don't disagree with you.
mhm.
A hamburger is definitely a
Yeah.
sandwich. No matter what way you slice it. I mean, we may not call it a sandwich, but there's a reason why burgers and sandwiches are almost always
Yes.
together on menus because they're basically pieces of bread or some kind of holdable item with
But
stuff
that
in
makes
it.
me feel weird though because you hold a hot dog similar to the way you might hold like a po' boy. And so it
Yeah.
bears the question of what is a sandwich and what is not.
Well, because similarly, a lobster roll is made on. I go the fancy route with it, but lobster roll is made on the
Hey, a
top
po'
split
boy
hot
is
dog bun. That's what
fancy.
it's
Po'
called.
boy is fancy.
Po' boys are fancy. Po' boys are
Oh god. I
delicious.
actually have had po' boy. The first time I had a po' boy was in New Orleans.
Oh, nice.
It was so good.
But a lobster roll is considered a sandwich, but it is pretty much it's the same mechanism as a hot dog. It's just lobster salad or warm. I
Mhm.
don't understand warm lobster rolls. I'll be quite
Mm-mm.
honest. People
I like
disagree
them
with me about
cold.
this. I don't think a lobster roll should be hot. And I'm sorry to all of Connecticut because they will all disagree with me. But it's the same mechanism. So like a hot dog by the same answer is a sandwich. It's the same
See,
eating
I've
mechanism.
always preferred lobster rolls cold. I don't like them hot
Oh yeah.
either.
No. maybe it's because like I lobster roll to me reads beach, so that why would I want a hot lobster roll on the beach? Also, I don't think any of the places on the beach make them hot, but
Yeah, see,
like
for us living down where I
it just
do,
tastes better.
it's we mostly have just crab legs, fried
Hmm.
fish, hush puppies. Like it's more of a
Yeah.
southern style. I don't see lobster rolls very often. If
Hmm.
anything, you may actually see a po' boy instead where I'm from.
Yeah.
Because then when I do visit family, if I ever do up like further north, my family's from Maryland. We get crab
Hmm.
cakes.
Yeah.
So I don't really see lobster rolls very often on anything.
No. I'm so sorry to anyone who's listening to our podcast. If you're hungry right now, you might be hungrier. I'm so sorry.
You might. We keep doing this though, but it's really hard to do a podcast about a show that it takes place inside of a burger restaurant and not
This is
talk
true.
about food.
This is true.
Um, I have this other line I wrote down. How does someone's breath smell like sweat?
I don't know. I don't
I
want to know.
don't. I'm concerned.
Me too.
Are they okay?
Probably not.
Okay. The what saved this episode for me
Hmm.
is the family breathing in helium. That is the best part of this episode. It is the
That was
only
good.
enjoyable part of the episode for me. But them breathing in the helium,
Yeah.
like the fact that they took it to the hospital with them.
Yeah.
I,
It's more fun that way. Well, because
it's more
also if
fun
you're
that way.
gonna, yeah, it's more fun that way.
Because then when Bob's like realizes they have the helium in the hospital, he says, "Give me some." I just wrote, "I am Bob as a parent," because I would be doing the exact same thing.
Hmm.
And then my last note is just, would a doctor really agree to traumatize a child this way?
Only on television.
This episode is the least realistic for me. And we just
No.
had a whole episode about a mechanical shark going into a
Yeah,
basement.
this is
So
true.
there's something about this episode that just no thank you.
I mean, let's also take into context. We're calling this unrealistic when we talk about a TV show also about fairy tale characters who are cursed to live in our realm and they've forgotten who they are, and Snow White is best friends with Red Riding Hood, and then also you have Rumpelstiltskin and other people and Pinocchio and other characters that just
And
kind of like all coexist at the same time.
where the fairies are nuns.
Where the fairies are nuns and the dwarves are basically miners and basically like just service job workers.
Like they literally are the eggs.
The
Like
eggs.
the eggs.
To be fair, not all of them are menial service job workers, because to be fair, Sneezy is a pharmacist.
Okay, that's fair. And you did have the guy that was in charge, but how long did he have to work in servitude before he was able to be promoted?
I don't want to think about that.
I'm just saying. So, this episode, like, I know we were just like the last episode. Oh, this was an episode. This was an episode.
Yeah.
It has its funny parts. I will admit.
I did love that the only way that Louise could be interested in figuring out who the secret crush was when she got to judge people.
I loved that. And then them freaking out and running and being like, oh God, no. Because it very obviously Jean had no interest.
Oh, none whatsoever.
I think it speaks on like your elementary relationships.
Oh yeah, I wrote down, this just gives me middle school flashbacks and I hate it.
Yes.
Like, the amount of like, fun fact about my childhood, I middle school dated the same boy 3 times. Like
Me
in
too.
sixth grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, basically just because everyone was convinced that we liked each other. So the first time we lasted the weekend. The second time I think it lasted a week. Just because it is what it is. And then I think the last time it was a little longer than that, but then he broke up with me the day before Valentine's Day.
I am now realizing none of my life experiences are genuine. Because I pretty much had the same middle school life. High school was different, thank goodness, but
Yeah.
middle school was pretty much the same. And of course, if there was a new kid, everybody got a crush on the new kid.
I think my school might have been too big for that to be a thing.
Oh, I came from a small town though, like that.
Yeah,
That's
like
small town experience, I guess.
Possibly, yeah, because my graduating class was like 600 people. That's too many people for like every time for like there be a new kid for people to be kind of obsessed with them. That wasn't a thing in my school because I think there's just too many of us.
My graduating class was less than 150 people.
And there you go.
My school was not that big. I think I
No.
pretty
Yeah,
much
my
knew everybody who was graduating with me.
yeah, my graduating I mean, I knew a lot of the people that I graduated with, and I think we've
Mhm.
talked about this before because like there was some overlap between
Mhm.
like the theater and the sports because of our director and one of the coaches being a married couple, so he kind of just made a lot of his all of his football players take acting and be in the musical for their arts credit.
This
But
feels like a Glee episode.
it does, but like it really was a case of like he would basically just tell them go do that, but then they would like find out that like they liked it, so they would stay. Like that's but like no one cared. Like it's just like okay, here is
Yeah.
someone here's another boy in our theater department that's still somehow devoid of men. Like with how big our theater department was, you'd think we would have had more guys, and we really didn't.
That's fair.
But yeah, like my school, it was big, but like I mean, I knew a lot of people. I didn't know everybody, but I knew a
Mhm.
lot of people just from being in like the stuff that kind of gears towards being a lot of people like
Yeah.
theater and the musicals, and I would try and diversify the electives that I took when I could take them. So like I wasn't seeing the same people all the time, but I definitely didn't know everybody.
I definitely lived in a small enough town that, like, I knew the name of everybody. Like, my graduating class, I knew all there wasn't a situation of, like, someone would start saying, "Do you know such and such?" You knew such and such because it was such a small town. We had one stoplight and no grocery store.
Yeah, so I mean, I said I love that Louise gets to judge people. Um, she should not be able to climb the rope after him. Where is the gym teacher making sure that they're being safe?
I don't think they care.
I don't think so either. I did say that yes, the hammer is necessary.
Yes,
It was very
it is
necessary.
necessary.
To be fair, Louise's scenario was far more realistic, and I stand by that. Like when they were having him break up with with Courtney multiple times, her just screaming was far more realistic, quite frankly.
It really was. Their breakup definitely was one for the books.
Yeah. I did say that I wrote down once we met her dad, like, oh, it all makes sense now why Courtney likes Jean because he reminds her of her dad.
Mhm.
That's what that is there. Try speaking with your words instead of your damn dirty lies. You sit on a throne of lies, Jean. Any chance to make that reference makes me happy.
Oh yeah, any chance.
And then my last note, because I like to find references where there are no references, apparently. Um, when she asks if he can set her up with Peter Pescadero, and he says Peter's got partial hearing loss. It's perfect, and so which reminded me because she sounds awful and he can kind of not hear. Um, a line from I think it's from the stage version of Fiddler on the Roof. I don't think it's in the movie, but when they show all the people in the town, they've got
Mhm.
Yenta the matchmaker. Welcome again to my musical theater lessons that I apparently give on this podcast.
Yeah.
Um, they show her, saying to someone that she's found a girl for the guy's son, and he goes like this, like she's like, what he says that she's almost blind, and she goes, "Tell the truth, Avram. With the way, like, is your son so much to look at? With the way that she sees and the way that he looks, it's a perfect match."
Oh my goodness. I did not know about that, but I've never seen Fiddler on the Roof.
It's a great musical. Highly recommend it. It's long. The movie is phenomenal. Like truthfully, like for a movie adaptation of a stage musical,
Mhm.
I I don't think they take anything out. I think the movie is still almost 2.5 hours.
Oh wow. I'll
But
have to take a look at
yeah, I
it.
think it's usually on Prime. Usually depends on the month
Okay.
because stuff moves around. But that's just what that made me think of. Yenta
Oh
the
yeah, that's
matchmaker.
understandable.
Yeah.
What did you rate this?
So much like the last one, I do think that I've had more fun in this conversation than I did watching the episode. And actually, as we've been talking, I've actually been taking points away.
Me too.
I started the evening with a much higher score.
Same.
Um, it now has a 6 for plot
Mhm.
because I think the plot is fine. It's just I think it's a fact of it. It was almost like secondhand embarrassment. Like I remember these things. I don't feel great about watching this,
Yeah.
and like in like for the entirety of the episode. Like if the Gene thing was a B plot to something else, I wouldn't want it to be a B plot to Linda,
Yeah.
to Linda's escapades this time. But if it was a B plot to something else, I probably wouldn't have had so much of an issue with it. And then for personal and character, I gave it a 5. So this one, I gave each one 5. So this one gets a 16. This is my first episode that is below a 20.
So, we have the same score just for different reasons. Plot and
Okay.
character are 5 for mine. I do not like Courtney.
Hmm.
There's just not much redeeming about her. I know she's a child, but like
Yeah.
it gets a little rough, and I struggle with this one, and I gave Personal a 6,
Mhm.
mostly because the helium and the family itself, even outside of the other issues
Mhm.
within the episode, you get some wonderful moments with the family. But
Yeah.
I take a lot of issue with, like, I'm not gonna you're even if it's something that is so much your favorite and you find comfort in, this is an episode I would actually say skip,
Mhm. That's fair.
because there is no reason to write an episode, in my personal opinion, about needing to lose weight that much, and
Mm-mm.
in such an unhealthy way.
Yeah.
Because what if a teenager sees this and thinks, "Oh, well, if I just eat less, I can get as small as Gretchen did." And as somebody who has struggled with things like that in the past, I'm very disappointed in this episode because of it.
That's fair.
So please do not do the skin deep diet.
No, do not.
Do not do that.
We do not
It
endorse.
is not okay. It is not safe. And you are beautiful just the way you are.
Mhm.
They're not all going to be good. I keep telling myself
Mhm.
they're not all going to be good. There are episodes that you don't enjoy, but
Mhm.
if we can't be critical of the media that we enjoy, then what are we doing?
Exactly. Like I always say, like I mean, I always say about most things, I'm like, if I'm not finding
Mhm.
something to critique, I probably didn't enjoy it or I didn't love it. I'm just like, it was fine. Like if that's all
Mhm.
I'm saying about it. I probably didn't like it. That's what it was. Is it was fine. There wasn't a whole lot
Yeah.
to to talk about. But I can critique things until I don't have a whole lot to critique about Our Flag Means Death. I will be honest. Other than I think it needed more Jim, and I stand by that. Um,
I do need to give that show a try. I have yet to watch it, but life has been hectic.
no, that is totally fair. Um, but also the fact that they didn't finish the song, like it's still bothering me because they have in the second season with that one, they have one of the characters sing La Vie en Rose both in English and French. They have
Oh
him
shit, now I
finish
have
it
to
in
watch it.
they have him finish it in French, but the English version they on the soundtrack they didn't have him finish it. The soundtrack just ends because they get interrupted. So the soundtrack ends where he finishes the song, um, basically just missing the last two lines. I'm like,
Mhm.
just finish it on the soundtrack.
Oh, I love La Vie en Rose. Oh
It's a good
man.
song.
It is a good song. Now I have to watch, but I also love Taiki Waititi.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That's
he's
fair.
phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
That is him, right?
Yes, he's Blackbeard in that one.
Thank you. He's Blackbeard?
He plays Blackbeard.
Fuck,
It's
now I gotta
pirates.
watch. I have to watch.
We've established this. It's a very satirical
My
retelling of
memory,
Blackbeard and Stede Bonnet,
have you met me? My memory is not exactly the best.
but pirates.
I I wish I had helium right now.
Hold me close and hold me fast. Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Once Upon a Time, episode 117, Hat Trick. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. And follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Katie and Lauren and edited by Katie.